Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and here we are back in Way of the Hunter. But today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I want to make kind of a comparison video with Call of the Wild and the Way of the Hunter. Um, Guys, I'm just going to let you know right from the start that this is going to be completely objective. I'm going to try not to include any of my personal opinions on either game. I just want to make a video showing off the features and what's I don't even want to say what's good and bad about each game. I just want to give you guys some idea of the differences between the two games, because here's the deal. We have two hunting games that are alike only in the fact that you hunt. Call of the Wild is a very different game than Way of the Hunter. It's funny because the way I see it, Call of the Wild and Way of the Hunter could totally coexist in your game library, and you could get just two completely different experiences out of both games. Very much in a way that a lot of people will ask, what game should I get? Should I get Gran Turismo 7 or should I get Assetto Corsa Competizione? And again, the answer to that is you can absolutely have both of those games and experience different things out of both games. They're both really good games that they give you a completely different experience. The only thing they have in common is that you're racing cars. Other than that, completely different games. Absolutely no reason why you can't enjoy both games. But we're going to just dive in a little bit here just to show you guys what Call of the Wild's about, show you guys a little bit of what Way of the Hunter's about. If you are a subscriber of mine and you've been in my live streams and you've watched my past videos, then you absolutely know where my personal opinions lie on both of these games. So you can always, go back and check those videos or join me in a live stream if you want. If you're new around here, again, if this is the first video you're watching and you really want to know my personal opinion about both of these games, you can either go back and check out some of my older videos, or you can join me in a live stream. We stream every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. We stream Way of the Hunter, and you can absolutely feel free to ask me what my personal opinions are on Call of the Wild and Way of the Hunter, and I will gladly tell you. But this video is just about maybe helping you decide what game fits you. So, because I do most of my content on Way of the Hunter, we're not going to start with that. We're going to actually hop over to Call of the Wild, and we're going to show you some of the features, some of the things about Call of the Wild, and then come back to Way of the Hunter. Alright guys, so here we are in Way of the Hunter, and we are on Leighton Lakes. This is one of the maps that are in the base game. You get two maps in the base game. You get Leighton Lakes, and you get Hirschfeld. Now, before we start, I do want to just tell you guys that this game is going to be 6 years old come February 2023. So just keep that in mind, that this game has been around for going on 6 years now, and it has a ton of content in it. So we're going to go over here to the store, and we're just going to show you some of the things that are available to you if we just hop in the store here. So rifles, as you can see, we have a lot of rifles, and there's a lot of these rifles that are DLCs. I mean, you have 303s, and you have 30-06, and you have muzzle loaders, and you have 470s, and you have a 22 Hornet, and you have M1, and you have a 6.5, and you have a 338, you have a 243, you have the Mosin Nagant, the Silicon. My God, yeah, you just have a ton. You have the 22. You have this here. It's an air rifle, a 45 air rifle. Let's see here. You have a Whitlock. You have semi-automatic rifles in 308, 223, and 22. You have handguns. You have 44s and 22s and 410/45s. You have 454s. I mean, yeah, and they just put out a new handgun pack. I don't personally hunt with handguns in the game, so I haven't gotten the new pack. Shotguns, we have a bevy of different shotguns in this game. And yes, we have bows. We have long bows. We have compound bows, we have crossbows, we have recurve bows, we have quite a selection of bows, and we do have arrows that I forgot what they're called. Let's see here. We'll take a look at that in the arrows here. Tracer. We have tracer arrows. So there is just a ton of content in this game. Sights. We have all kinds of different sights for the various guns. We have iron sights, you know, those are all the rifle sights. We have handgun sights, as you can see, all kinds of different handgun sights. We have shotgun sights. We have bow sights. We have a really cool one down right here, actually, the Bright Sight Rangefinder bow sight. This is an absolutely amazing bow sight. We have the Bright Sight single line. Then we have a crossbow sight. Then we have a couple other ones here. Lures, we have callers and scents and decoys. Yes, in this game we do have scents. There's scent eliminator and there's scents that you can use to attract animals. We have dog biscuits because there is a dog in this game. We have a first aid kit. Of course, a scent eliminator. Clothing, we have different clothings. In the game, guys, the clothing, it doesn't do anything. It's just aesthetic. And I mean, if I'm being honest, you don't even see the clothes because it's a first person game. So when you're on ATV, you can see it. And in multiplayer, of course, you can see it. But you do have various outfits for each of the various reserves and stuff like that. You have backpacks so you can carry more things, but the backpacks, it's like a double-edged sword. You can carry more, but it's going to create more noise. Binoculars, we have night vision binoculars. We have a rangefinder. All the binoculars are zoomable. Tents, we have tents that you can place up so you can fast travel to them, and you can also get your weapons and all that stuff out of the tent. We have ground blinds that you can hunt out of. We have layout blinds. These are the layout blinds for the geese, and then we have waterfowl blinds, and then we have tree stands, and we have tripod stands. And where's the? Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. This here, this is the layout blind, and this is the boat blind that you can actually put in the water, I believe. Yeah. Okay. And then if you go down here to the kennel, so far we only have one dog in the game. It is a bloodhound. It does work. It will track. It will do things for you like that. We have an ATV that we can use. We have three different colors of the ATV. And if I go back here and hit the map, and if we go to Tiger Reserve, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 reserves that we can hunt on. We have the Yukon Valley. We have Layton Lakes, which is our Pacific Northwest map. Then we have Silver Ridge Peaks, which is the Rockies. Then we have Rancho del Arroyo, which is in Mexico. You're going to be able to hunt whitetail there, mule deer, bobcat, all kinds of different things. We have Mississippi, which it has alligators, whitetail deer, black bear, raccoons, stuff like that. We have Parque Fernando, which is going to have a lot of exotic animals, like it's going to have axis deer and black bucks and red deer, water buffalo, mountain lions, all kinds of things like that. We have Quattro Colinas, which is going to give you a lot of goat species. We have Virunga Savannah, which is an African map, which is going to give you species like lions and gemsbok and springbok and lesser kudu and wildebeest and warthogs and what else? Scrub hares. And Cape buffalo. And then we have Hirschfeld. Hirschfeld is another one that it's a German map. This comes with the game. This is the base game map, Hirschfeld, along with Layton Lakes. This is going to have red deer and European bison and fallow deer, roe deer, wild boar. We have the Reventuli Coast, which is the newest one that they just did. This is a map in Finland. This has the best duck hunting in the game. Not just my opinion, it's just absolute truth. It's got duck hunting, it's got upland bird species, many upland bird species. It's got whitetail deer, it's got moose, it's got brown bear, What else? It's got a ton of other animals. It's got the most animals on a single reserve in this game. We have Medved Taiga, which is a snow map. This is set in, I believe, like Siberia, somewhere around there. This has reindeer and it has brown bear, moose, wild boar, lynx, and Siberian musk deer, I believe. And then we have the Te Araroa, which is set in New Zealand, and this also has red deer, fallow deer. I don't know everything that's on this map actually, but as you can see, 6 years, has been kind to this game. There is a ton of content in this game. So if we take a look at the map here, this game utilizes need zones. And in this game, drink zones are your absolute best friend. This is where you're going to get all of your animals pretty much. I mean, there are other zones, there's rest zones and feed zones, but they're just harder to find. They're more difficult to hunt. The drink zones in this game are key. And as you can see this purple blotch here? This is actually your hunting pressure. So there's different levels of hunting pressure in this game. And once you reach the maximum of hunting pressure, this will turn like a bright neon pink almost. And then you will actually delete your need zones, which is something you don't really want to do. But it's not as big of a deal as you would think. So right there, we're getting a vocalization call that I can't see for some reason. Now, in this game, they do have a weapon wheel, which is very handy. Again, we have binoculars, and we can zoom them right in. And if I'm gonna just tell you guys the biggest difference between this game and Way of the Hunter, I would have to say that this game is more fast-paced. Now, let me kind of explain this, okay? Because this game is more fast-paced than Way of the Hunter. It is not a fast-paced game, okay? By any means, this is not a fast-paced game, compared to like other first-person shooters. You're still going to want to put in a fair amount of time into both games, especially if you're looking to get any of the trophies. In this game, the trophies would be a diamond or a great one. So, yeah, you're going to have to put in a little bit of time if you're going to want to get those, because it's just a certain way that they spawn in that I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, because honestly, I feel like that can kind of ruin these games if you know how they work. But as you can see, the maps are vast. It is still beautiful landscapes. As you can see, I mean, look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. And if we take a look at the map here, this is the size of the map. This kind of square here. And all of these little houses here, these are all fast travel points. You can fast travel to all of these. You have to unlock all of these when you first get the map. It is all blacked out. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to find these points here, these lookout points, and these will clear up sections of the map for you. And as you can see, I have some hunting pressure around here. This is kind of dark. This here is very light, so there's not a lot of hunting pressure around there at all. But we're not going to get into looking at the animals just yet. We're going to wait until we get to the hunting lodge, because I think it'll be just a better way to compare the animals to each other if we look at them in the lodge, because this game, unfortunately, does not have a photo mode, so it's very hard to get any real pictures of the animals in the wild. So now that you know what this game is about, you see some of the features, some of the things that we already have in this game, let's hop on back over to Way of the Hunter and take a look at that game, how that's set up, what we have with that game, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, guys, so here we are back in Way of the Hunter, and you can clearly see the minute we get into this game, the graphical styles are very different. I feel that, well, you know what, I'm not going to say anything. You know what, I'm just going to let you guys decide for yourselves what the graphics and everything look like. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the map of Way of the Hunter here. And we have only 2 maps with this game, but keep in mind, this game came out in August of this year. So presumably, if they develop this game for the long term, which I they the developers said they will. They said they have plans to, but honestly, beyond like the next year, we don't know. You know what I mean? We do know that we are getting two more reserves for this game in the next 12 months. So keep that in mind. So if we take a look at this map, let's just zoom out. I can't even zoom out all the way to show this map. The maps in this game are bigger than Call of the Wild. And again, that's up to you to decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I've heard arguments on each end of it saying that. Actually, I've heard people say that they thought Call of the Wild maps were too big. So yeah, it's completely on you. But we do have need zones in this game, but the need zones in this game are run a little different because they actually show the animal icons of the need zones. So if we click on the mule deer here, you can see two need zones popped up. We have a drinking zone and we have a rest zone there. And here we have a moose. And for this guy, we have a drinking zone, a feeding zone, and a resting zone. I will say with this game, a little bit of a difference is that I would say the feeding zones and the drinking zones are both viable zones that you can use to hunt. Again, rest zones, I never bother hunting rest zones. Maybe it's something I should start trying a little more, but honestly, the feed zones and the drinking zones, for me, are the way to go. Now, in this game, you have these little houses here, these little cabins that you can fast travel to, or you have these campsites that you can kind of fast travel to, and you know these cabins here. So this game is a little bit different because in this game, and I can't really show you guys because I'd have to start the game over again, but in this game, there's areas that are locked, and you either have to buy a pass to get permission to hunt the land, or you find these cabins, and there will be tasks that you have to do. The owner of the cabin will leave a little note for you, and you have to complete several tasks. And once you complete all the tasks, they'll then give you permission to hunt the land. And once it's done, guys, it's done. Once it's unlocked, it's unlocked. Like this is Falls Reservoir. This is one of the ones that is locked. You have to unlock it by either doing these missions or buying a land permit, if you will. But again, once it's done, it's done. Money in this game comes fairly easy. It's not that difficult to get money in this game. So either way you go about it, I would say it doesn't really matter whether you want to do the missions or if you want to buy it. That's totally on you. These here, the campsites, you just kind of find these to unlock them. So if we zoom back in here, you'll see, I don't know, let me try to find one here. I know I have some. Okay, these question marks. So these question marks could be campsites. They could be a number of things. But you want to go and you want to try to unlock all of these to unlock all of the camp zones and stuff like that. Now, again, guys, this video could be an hour long. Okay, it could be even longer than that if I really wanted to do an in-depth dive into everything that you can do in the game, but we're not going to do that. So if we pull up our binoculars here, you will find in this game that the binoculars, they don't have a zoom. Now, the one thing I should say is that the render distance in Call of the Wild is a lot less in this game, but that's because of the console that it's on. Call of the Wild does not have a PS5 version of the game, so it is strictly a PS4 game. You can play it on PS5, don't worry about that, but the game does have the restrictions of last gen, unfortunately. So I believe the render distance in Call of the Wild is somewhere around 500 meters, where in this game it's 800. If you're on a mountain, then it's over 1,000 because there's a little weird thing about when you're on mountains and looking down on animals. So yeah, you can get even further when you're on a mountain. So let's hop into this lodge here and let's check out what you get with this game. Now, another thing, guys, I should say is that with Call of the Wild puts out, I believe, 2 map DLCs per year, and then it varies with the other DLCs. And the map DLCs are always $7.99, and every other DLC is always $3.99. With this game, the map DLCs, I have no idea how much the map DLCs are going to cost. There's no map DLCs out yet, and I got the season pass, so I'm going to have no idea. But if it's not a map, everything else will be added into the game for free. We just had an update where they gave us 6 new weapons from Remington, and it was completely free. So let's open up the storage here. And let's go into the shop. So these are the guns that you'll have if you buy the game right now. You have a 243, you have a 7mm 08, you have another 243, you have a 223, you have a 308 Win Mag, you have a 300 Win Mag, you have 22 LR, and these are all Steyr, by the way. Then you have the 338 Lapua Mag. Then you get into the Remington. So Remington now, these are the new weapons. These were a free DLC / update to the game. You have a 300 Win Mag in the Remington. You have a 350 Remington Mag in the Remington. You have the 30-06. You have a 270 Win Mag. And then you have, what's new to the Remington, you have the 870 Wingmaster Shotgun and the V3 Waterfall Pro. And then you have the Morning Silence, the Cinnamon Sky, the Jack, the Holden the Jack, and the Bonzer Inclined Standard. Now, this Cinnamon Sky the Jack, this was, I believe, a pre-order bonus weapon. So if we go across, hit the wrong button here. For gear, we have 8 times binoculars, and we have 10 times 42 binoculars. Neither one of these are zoomable. Collars, we have elk, we have roe deer, and this one is branded. These are Bushnell. This is Overguard, so these are all branded. The elk collar is Primos. Roe deer is not branded. Primos for the deer grunt. We have a red deer collar. We have a hog collar, duck collar, goose, jackrabbit predator collar, and we have a moose collar. As you can see, they are all branded Primos. So if we go across the attachments, we have a red dot and a carbine optic. We have Leupold 7x33. Then we have the 318x44, then 1.5 4x20, then the 315x50, 4.5 14x40, and they are all Leupold. So another difference with these games is that this game got licensed somehow to get brand names in the game. Call of the Wild, they didn't go that route. So boundaries, this is what I was telling you guys about. This is where you can buy your passes to hunt on all the land, and you can buy in the Nez Perce Valley and Transylvania, and that's the other map that you get. So we have storage, you can sleep, and you do have a car that you can call. You have these various ones, and again, this one here, the Camo Jeep, this was a pre-order bonus. So, as you can see, content-wise, obviously Call of the Wild is going to have a lot more in the way of content, just because for the simple reason that it's been around for a long time. Again, like I said, hopefully if this game is around for 6 years, it'll have as much content as Call of the Wild as well. So now that we've looked at the kind of features and stuff like that, let's get into some things that are a little bit different in the game. So for instance, in Call of the Wild, you can put markers on the map, like here. Like right here, I can put a marker here, and I can remove it. You can do the same thing in Call of the Wild, but the biggest difference here is that if I pull up my binoculars, I can also put up a mark through my binoculars or a scope. That's the one feature that we don't have in Call of the Wild. Now, with Call of the Wild, you can hold quite a few things on that weapons wheel as long as you don't go overweight. You guys, this is a lot of stuff that it's a lot to get into. This game, you're allowed to hold 2 weapons at a time. That's it. You can't hold any more than 2 weapons. You can hold 3 calls, which I don't know if I have 3 calls on me. 2. Oh, I do. And you can hold 2 gear, where you can have binoculars. As of right now, they only have binoculars, so there's really no point in doing that. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is, before we get into the looking at the animals in the lodges, we're going to actually just kind of do a quick hunt on each game, just to show you guys the hunting mechanics and how that works and just how different that is. All right, here we are back on Leighton Lakes, and we're going to be hunting whitetail, and we have the 270 with us because we have a 270 in this game. We have a 270 in Way of the Hunter, so I think that would be really cool, and I really like both of the 270s in each game, if I'm being honest with you. So let's take a look at some of the differences between this game and Way of the Hunter when it comes to actual hunting. So where's Scanner? I know I have some whitetail. Oh, right there. See that? We have some whitetail coming in. So as you can see, in this game, you can spot the animal. It highlights, and when I hit the button, it gives us information about them, and we can collect need zones. So this is a 1 trivial. So this is like the smallest a whitetail can get. What you're looking for, ideally, would be a 3, because that could be a diamond. So here we have a 2 miner, so he's a little bigger. As you can see, it has a weight estimate on him, 70 to 85 kg, and the trophy estimate is between 185 and 226. Now, I'd like to get a spot on that guy right there. Now, that is a 2 miner. That is an 85 to 100 kilogram. That is a max weight estimate animal right there. But now, what I want to do, I want to get a little bit closer to these guys, just so you can kind of observe them in their kind of natural habitat, I guess, just to kind of see what the animals do in this game. And then when we go back over to Way of the Hunter, I will show you guys the difference in the animations and stuff like that with what the animals actually do in Way of the Hunter. So you can kind of see them. They're just kind of hanging out, walking around, bending their heads down, stuff like that. Is that? Oh, there are deer right in front of us, guys. Look at this. So this is another thing. You can get much closer to the animals in Call of the Wild than you can in Way of the Hunter. And this is one of the things that I'm talking about. This is why it's a lot more fast paced. So now I set the time to their drink zone time. And in this game, when you set that time to their drink zone time, they will come right in to the drink zones at that time, like clockwork, not a problem. As you can see, we have some deer over there. That's a doe. We just picked up another drink zone, 2 miner. This is a really good lake for whitetail. And again, guys, this video, it might go a little long. I do apologize, but I really don't know how else to really show you guys the game. And, okay, we were crouched. We could take him out right there. I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, so as you can see, I don't have a scope on this. So the one cool thing with this here is if I go over here, and if I press R1, I can put a sight on this right there. We kind of lost him there, but that was good. So if we, again, through the scope, we can spot the animal. If we click L3, there we go. We took our shot, and he is down. And as you can see, they are fleeing. But those ones over there are not. So let's pick up this guy. Now, I know that one of the questions is going to get asked in the comments about ballistics. And Call of the Wild, they don't have perfect ballistics. I'm not an expert on that, but I do know that they don't have perfect ballistics. What is that? Is that that look like a coyote or something? I think that's the one we were aiming at right there. We definitely didn't get him, so it doesn't matter. We aren't here to kill a bunch. We're just trying to show the game off a little bit here. Okay, so let's just take a look at the animal model here a little bit before we pick them up. There we go. And we'll confirm the trophy. So this is a little bit different, right? So we have the X-ray screen here. We have a lot of information. It tells you where you hit them. Trophy rating is 152.13. Harvest check. We didn't hit them. We didn't hit them good at all. No vital organ hit. Yeah, that's because we hit him in the spine. I didn't think I hit that high. But as you can see, 255.09 is what you need to get a diamond. A diamond is like a 5-star if you're playing Way of the Hunter. Just like the top tier animal, other than a great one, which we're not going to get into in this video at all. But then if we take a look at the hit information, we have the true score, which arguably I would say this is more realistic. It's still not like Boone and Crockett or anything like that. This is one that EW has made for the game, but at least they're taking into consideration the antlers and all that. It's not just one score, which when this game first came out, it was. They would score up to 1,000. 1,000 scoring animal was the pinnacle. That was the highest scoring animal you can get. They did change that for the community, which was a good thing, and they did incorporate this more realistic scoring. So that is the harvest screen for the Hunter Call of the Wild. So now let's go back into Way of the Hunter and take a look at the hunting in that game. All right, so now we're back in Way of the Hunter, and one of the biggest differences between this game and Call of the Wild is the fact that you have the hunter sense in this game. So normally when you're walking around, you can hear things, you can hear animals, you can hear them calling, you can hear them fleeing, you can hear them moving around, but you don't get any visualization clue as to exactly where they are or what they are. So if you press the triangle button on PS5, as you can see there, we have a visualization clue. So that's the sound analysis, and that's a pheasant. That's a male. He's 80 to 100 yards out. And also, you'll be able to see tracks and need zones and blood when you're tracking animals in the hunter sense. And also, you can get information through the binoculars on hunter sense. So we have a herd of mule deer up over there. And I'm not going to really worry about trying to get white-tailed deer. Mule deer will be sufficient for what we're going to look at here. And I should say, guys, also, both games, and I probably should have said this in the Call of the Wild video, in the Call of the Wild clip before, both games you can zero in your weapon, and both games have zoomable scopes to different degrees. Now, why this game is slower paced to Call of the Wild is the fact that the animals are much easier to spook. You really need to be careful of the sound that you make. As you can see in Call of the Wild, we pretty much walked right up on those white-tailed deer, and they were 100 yards out, and they didn't notice we were there at all. Now, in Call of the Wild, if the wind would have been blowing towards them, it would have been a different story. The wind in this game works a little differently than it does in Call of the Wild. Again, guys, this video is going to be long as it is, and if I got into every little detail of both of these games, I could probably do 2 or 3 videos covering it all, and I just really didn't want to do that, so I'm going to try to get closer to these mule deer so we can at least take a look at them and then possibly get one. Okay, so right away, it's not easiest to see, but you can kind of see that the tails on these guys are moving. That is different from Call of the Wild. We don't really see that on Call of the Wild. If I could sit here and watch these guys longer, you would see that their ears twitch. Oh, he's bedding down. Okay, so let's see if we can possibly call one of these, just so we can get a better look at them. Okay, there we go. We got a deer coming in. See right there? You can see his ear twitching. You can see his tail kind of swishing around. All right, so that guy's coming in. So we are going to take this opportunity. This is the 270 in this game. And as you can see, we do have zeroing. And you see that animation? Did you see him jump like that? That's very realistic to what happens in real life when you shoot a deer. So now what we can do is we can set a marker right there on the blood and set another marker possibly right down over there because I think he may have gone down. So hopefully we'll be able to show off a little bit of the tracking, not as much as I would have liked to have done. The tracking in this game is a lot more difficult than the tracking in Call of the Wild, which we didn't get the tracking in Call of the Wild either because, again, we made a good shot. But I've been playing that game for so long, guys, that it's really difficult not to get a good shot. And wait a minute, where? Where was the initial blood? Oh, no, that's not. I see the blood, but where was the initial blood splatter? That's definitely not it. Hmm. Okay, maybe he didn't go down. So another thing, if we look, the blood in this game, which again we didn't really get to see too much Call of the Wild, the blood in this game really coats the ground a lot differently. Um, hmm. Oh, no, he's down right here actually. So again, much like Call of the Wild, there's a thing where you can actually see the animal downed. It highlights, but only when you're in 100 cents. If not in 100 cents, then you just see it normally. So let's pick him up and take a look at the harvest screen in this game. So this one is a little different. This one should... Why did I hit... Wow, wait a minute. That's not... Oh, I hit him twice. This is the second time I've hit this guy. So the first time we just nicked him. Oh, we shot him from 598.8 yards away with the 300 Win Mag, and we just nicked him. So shot two. This is our shot today. We hit artery, left lung. Well, left lung was the biggest hit. The artery, we did probably over 50% penetration damage to the artery, and then the rest was just cavity damage. The right lung got a little bit of cavity damage as well. So this game does have a bullet camera when you go into that, and I needed to shoot just a touch lower so we can actually zoom out of this so we can see the animal more, which is a pretty decent feature. I think it's something pretty cool. Now they do have an update coming that's going to change some things. I don't know exactly what. So if you guys are watching this where this screen is different, then that's why. As me filming this, this is what it looks like as of now. If there's been an update to it later on and you're watching this, then that's why it'll look different. So if we go to the overview, we see that this was a one-star mature, 36.9% on the genetics. So that's the difference with this game compared to Call of the Wild as well. Call of the Wild doesn't have genetics. Call of the Wild is basically just kill the biggest animals and hopefully they will respawn into something bigger. So like a red deer, for example, goes up to a 9 legendary. But you know what? Let's use the whitetails as an example. The whitetails will go up to a level 3. And the premise is if you kill all of the biggest level 2s that are in that max weight category and have a high score, then hopefully one of those will respawn into a level 3 and be a diamond. With this game, it's a bit different. You want to take out all of these guys, all of the animals that have low genetics in the herd, to let the high fitness, high genetic animals have a better chance at creating offspring. They have higher genetics in the herd as a total. Again, we're not going to get into all that into this video. I have videos about that, guys. You can go back and you can check those out. Again, live streams, you can pop in, you can ask me any question you want. Then we have the hunt tab, and this shows you how much meat you lost and how much the meat is going for. 91 cents a pound. It's not selling for that high. We're going to get 228 cash from this guy. And trophy, this is their scoring that they do. It's a universal scoring. I wish I would have thought of that when I was talking about Call of the Wild, but yeah, they do a universal scoring in this game. So all of the animals, no matter if it's a badger, a duck, a wolf, a deer, it doesn't matter. It's going to score. It's going to have a universal scoring up to 500. 500 is the highest scoring animal you can get in this game. Maybe they'll change that one day down the road. Maybe they'll have a little bit more realistic scoring like Call of the Wild does. But as of right now, it's universal scoring. This guy was 214.1, so he was quite small on the scoring level. All right, guys, so that is it for the hunting portion of the game. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the hunting lodges. We're just going to look at the differences between the different animals. Before we do that, though, I am going to say this. Call of the Wild, they have different fur variations, and they have rare fur varieties as well. So there's going to be like piebalds, albinos, melanistic, and stuff like that in the game, whereas Way of the Hunter doesn't have that yet. It's going to be implemented sometime down the road. They do have plans on that. But again, like I said, this game did just come out in August, so it's a little thin on the content, but hopefully that will that will get better as time goes on. So really, guys, I just want you to use this video as a way where you can just take a look at both of the games a little bit side by side, just see the features of each game, just see how each game are kind of played. Even though I do know that I didn't really get into the heart of gameplay with either game. We kind of just went to an area just to show off the hunting. The hunting in this game is a lot slower, whereas in Call of the Wild, you're going to get a lot more animals per hour than you will in Way of the Hunter. Way of the Hunter is a much slower paced game where you may go, I would say, you could probably go every 10 minutes but before seeing an animal. If you're really hunting the good spots. But you could also go a very long time in this game without seeing an animal or spooking them away. And in Call of the Wild, it's a lot more easier to sneak up on animals and stuff like that. So that's why I said that Call of the Wild, more fast-paced. Not by any means a fast-paced game, just more fast-paced than Way of the Hunter. Way of the Hunter is a very slower-paced game. If you guys are at all familiar with the Hunter Classic, then think of that in terms of how the Way of the Hunter is. But unfortunately, I had to compare this to Way of the Hunter to Call of the Wild because those are the only two hunting games we have on console. One more thing before we leave, guys. I just want to let you guys know, if you're on PS4 or Xbox One or Xbox One X, then sadly you don't have the option. Way of the Hunter is only on current gen consoles, so it's only for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. So if you're on PS4 and you're looking for a good hunting title, then Call of the Wild is pretty much your only option. If you're on the next-gen consoles, then you do have the choice of Way of the Hunter or Call of the Wild. And in my opinion, this is the only opinion I'm going to give in this game. I believe I've said it in the beginning. You can easily have both games and have fun on both games and get two very different hunting experiences from each game. So just keep that in mind, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Keep watching if you're interested in seeing what the animal models look like in the two different games. If you did like the video, guys, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We'll see you next time. But until then, happy hunting.